Hey, what's up? Welcome to Nick's Licks, episode 2. I hope you enjoyed the last episode where we went over kind of an introduction to hybrid picking. There's going to be more on that topic. Some of the things that I display throughout this episode and future episodes will have hybrid picking topics. So for those of you who like that technique. But I don't want that to be the only thing that people get from what I might have to offer. Today we're going to be talking about the Dorian mode. As I've been taking lessons with Greg Howe and exploring these modes more and more within the framework of 7th arpeggios, I've come to understand that Dorian is just one of the coolest because you can kind of get away with a lot. The outside notes sound unique, and it's just a really, really good time. So let's just talk about the Dorian mode very quickly. I'm sure a lot of you know what this is. It's just one of the modes within music theory. Your standard minor is technically called Aeolian. The standard major is Ionian. And Dorian is just sort of somewhere in between. You obviously still have Phrygian. You have Lydian, Mixolydian, Locrian. I think that's, I might be missing one or two. But today we're just going to be talking about Dorian. And Dorian is a minor mode, so it's nice to kind of consider that. It's minor with a little touch of a major kind of thing. Very, very common sound within a lot of like cowboy music, West and Wild West kind of sounds. Here in Arizona, we're inundated with that kind of thing growing up. But also jazz and just a lot of other things. You've heard it a million times, and it's just very fun. I like to contextualize a lot of the stuff around E minor, because for a lot of rock and metal guys, while E minor is sort of what you're into at first, it's the common kind of all that kind of stuff. So you start to learn all the scales within E minor, the Aeolian mode, and it's kind of sounds like this. Etc. You see how I'm kind of landing back on that E, and it kind of resolves. It's a cool sound. Don't get me wrong. It's amazing what you can do, and especially when you start using hybrid picking and some of these other techniques, you can kind of access some interesting sounds. But Dorian, we can still take all that E minor stuff that we know, right? What's really kind of cool in this context is that, say, if instead of going, we go one string up and we do A minor, kind of a A5. Now, let's listen to the standard A minor sounds for a minute. Right? So that's cool. But now, let's take that root there as we're jamming, and let's start just doing our E minor kind of scales instead of our standard A minor scales. Sorry, that was A minor. So you already see it's almost like, kind of sounds like Van Halen. You kind of it's already into that realm. It's more funky, but it's still dark. Very cool. So let's explore this just a little bit further. and see if we can maybe establish some cool protocols around this, or just kind of give you something to take away from this to practice at home, and to kind of get the feel of what Dorian is about. So again, when we're playing Dorian here in this context, think of it as an A minor tonic, but E minor scale. So maybe that's not a conventional way to look at it, but it is a way to look at it, and it does help. So I'm just going to kind of explore that. So we'll start at A. Pretty minor sound so far, but this is where it'll start to change. Sorry, but you kind of see there, it's we're kind of getting, it still sounds like minor, but it just kind of changes. Okay, so very, very cool stuff. We can also start to just do kind of like a pentatonic minor thing, and then kind of just throw in occasional diatonic E minor scales. So, very cool, very, very cool. I would say maybe a lick to take home to kind of think it like an easy Dorian lick with a pentatonic would be just to take that, I love this shape that's sort of at the end of the 3-note per string G major pattern. Right? But then you take, right? But you can kind of start to, and then you can also throw in, if you want, this little blues note here. So. Right. Cool. So, let's take a look at that lick, and then I'm just going to kind of jam some Dorian so you get a sound of what that's like. But here, let's just take a standard run up and then come back a different way. And then it's something to take home and kind of practice. And I'll also show you what that looks like within this song that I'm going to kind of jam to. But here's a lick to practice at home. Different variations of it, however you like. Which one of those sounds good? You kind of see where I'm going at. The standard one, we'll stick with that one. Try to see if you can get that one under your fingers and get that hybrid picking going. Etc. All right, so I'm going to jam to a track here. This is actually something that Greg Howe turned me on to. I love this. It's a perfect kind of Dorian jam. I'm going to kind of throw chromatics and stuff, but the whole time I just want you to understand, I'm just looking at this as in, okay, this is A minor, but if I'm just sort of jamming on my E minor, tried and true stuff, and but kind of also center around standard A minor pentatonics. So E minor pentatonics will still work, but the A minor pentatonics is going to give it more of that Dorian sound when mixed with those E minor diatonic scales. I hope that makes sense. But yeah, to finish us off here, let me just do a little jam. probably get the point there. You can kind of hear where I'm missing some of those. I'll kind of fall back into the minor sound, but I'll come back and hit the Dorian sound, and it just changes it up. If you have any questions about what we covered here in this video, I know it's kind of a lot, but you know, the things to remember here. If you're playing A minor and you play E minor scales, you're going to get Dorian. If you're playing E minor, but you're playing B minor scales, you're going to get Dorian. It's generally kind of the way I kind of look at it is if this is my root note, it's going to be the key of the root note above it, the minor scales of that above it that are going to give me that Dorian sound. But if you have any questions or just appreciated what you saw here in today's video, comment below, and we'll see you next Friday. These will be every Friday release. If there's a particular topic or subject you'd like me to cover, let me know and we'll get it done. Have a happy Halloween.